let's do that. So I'm not running main deck duress anymore. I am running... Well, let's just talk about the cards, I guess, before we just start jamming the... no, let's build the deck, and then we'll talk about the cards one by one. 4 opt. Sure, we'll use that weird-looking one. Let me see. The newest, and I'm enjoying a lot, the newest card to this is Slaughter the Strong. I bought one. No regrets. No regrets. I'm buying this card. It's just like another Settle the Wreckage or another Vona's Hunger. Basically, it's a way to deal with Carnage Tyrant, but it has a bit more utility in the fact that you could kill 2 Carnage Tyrants at once, which I have done with it. And it's an easy way to sell me on a card, is to kill 2 Carnage Tyrants at once when you're playing Control. I don't know, it's really good. And we're going to talk about it some more. And I didn't know you could do this. Shout out to CGB. For being able to put more than one set name on the spacebar or on the line. I would probably run more if I had more Slaughter the Strongs, but I don't. I don't know, they took it out of the game and I haven't tried it since then. Like, I wasn't able to matchmake with a deck that had Broken Release to the Wind. So you'd have to test that for yourself. Because if they took it out of the game, it's either out of the game and I can't play it, or they fixed it. Either way, I don't want to play it anymore. Slaughter the Strong can also be good against a go-wide Merfolk or go-wide Vamps. If they play a Lord or they play 2 Lords, you could kill a good amount of their creatures. A good amount of the creatures. I've never really used it against them. Also, about this meta. The Dino Merfolk meta is tough. Because really, the decks are very different. Even though they're both kind of aggro-y, they're very different in the way they attack you. And so it really makes it hard to build a deck that is good against both. Like my Sultai Star Trek deck, which is basically some kind of explore, good stuff deck. Like it's trying to find the balance in between of how I can consistently beat Merfolk and Dinos. And maybe that's just silly. Maybe it's just not possible to build a deck that is strong against both. Except in Control. In Control you might be able to do it. Because I've been having pretty good luck with Control. But you can still get rolled by Merfolk or Dinos in Control if you are coming out slow. I still like Tets. I still keep 1. This deck is a lot about value. Bees knows. Bees plays both Merfolk and Dino. I don't know what this ninja is. A Rainbow Six Salute? Alright. Yeah, Tez can get some good value. Like late game it's super strong because you can just slap as many counters on you want and still cast it if you got like 10 mana. But stop distracting me, Shard. All you've done today is distract me. We still have 1 Settle. We still have 1 Search. We still have 1 Admiral's Order. We're down to 1 Spell Swindle. We're up a Nezahal, which I was able to find more bugs thanks to Nezahal in Hostage Taker. Yep. I played against, I think that guy that I killed 2 Carnage Tyrant. Well, yeah. I've traded many a Tetsamok for Carnage Tyrant. Let's just say it that way. 1 Vona's Hunger. Got that. 1 Mastermind's Acquisition. We got that. 2 Vraska's Contempt. I guess I'm up to 2 of these. Planeswalkers are kind of bad. So I'm running all the Vraska's Contempt I have. 1 Tetsamok. 2 Profane Processions. This is also a pretty much strict upgrade. Profane Procession is really good, folks. Really good. And at a 3-drop, it's in a nice place on the curve. The Release the Winds are out. The Hornswoggle is out. Three Baffling Ends. I think we got that. Love Baffling End. 3 Ixalan's Bindings. This is 1 up from the previous version. Two Golden Eyes, which is 1 down. I guess that's a bit risky, but with 3 Baffling Ends, it's okay if you can catch the Deep-Root Elite or Mistbinder or even Kumena. That's just old art opt. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. And of course it led to confusion immediately. 2 Choops, 4 opt, 2 Secrets of the Golden City, 2 Moment of Craving. Do I have that? No. Maybe that's why I cut a Demise, because with 3 Baffling Ends, 2 Moment of Cravings, and 2 Demises, Profane Processions, Vona's Hunger, Chupacabras, we do okay. Twilight Prophet's definitely out. Azor, I know, got moved to the sideboard. Two Gateways and 2 cancels. Do we have the gateways here? 2 gateways. Let's change the op to the good one so as to not confuse bees. Oh, I like that a lot. For sure. Ninja, that's a big part of it. This is the list, guys, and it's been doing well. I went undefeated against Control last night with it, which was like 4 games. Does pretty well against Dino and Merfolk. Let me adjust the sideboard too, because the sideboard is actually quite important here. I threw an Immortal Sun in the sideboard. It's a good thing to go fetch if they have a Planeswalker out. Or 2 Planeswalkers out. Vraska, is she in there? I don't think she's in there. Oh, let's get some more Kodo Classics going. What else we got? Right now I'm really liking the sideboard. Sanguine Sacrament, that's in there. Oh, this one, dude. This is an interesting one. I've never done it, but I like having it in my sideboard. Thank you, Shard. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Except I just closed the window. All right, we're good there. First, let me just put a filter on the window capture here. Let's just change this to 100. That should help a bit, and we'll shrink it down a bit more. Let's just filter it. I'll deal later when the filter screws up a different window. Crop pad, folks. Crop pad life. Do I struggle curving out with mana? No, not with no lands. Not really. The best part about Esper is, you know, you get access to Glacial Fortress and Drowned Catacomb. So you're in that Naya Dino land where you get the best lands available. Still not great, but it's way better than Sultai. We'll put the lands in after we finish with the sideboard. So, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about Tecatli Honor. This card hoses my Sultai Explore deck. This card is must kill. Branchwalker, Jade Light Ranger, Chupacabra. That's about it, but that's like 12 of my cards. I don't have a Zetalpa Entropy. But once again, I'm not sure that actually wins the game for me. Anyway, so this card is just fun because of how much it's hosed me. I put it in there just in case. I probably have a better card to pull out from a green-black matchup, but shutting down Chupa is pretty interesting. It's a real party boober, yeah. So it goes in there. It gets an honorable mention in the sideboard, since we barely really use sideboards. I got a Spell Swindle in the sideboard. These are all one-ofs. I got a River's Rebuke, which is already in there. Entrancing Melody. Just not in there. I don't use half these cards. They're in there for like, well, maybe this weird situation will come up and I'll want Entrancing Melody, but probably not. Yeah, no, there's a lot of cards we're going to have to cut from the sideboard. Deadeye Tracker gets a shout out for all those Scarab Gods in Arena. I don't know, Deadeye Tracker is pretty good against Journey to Eternity decks. It's pretty good against Search for Azcanta, though that's normally control. I'm super down on Hostage Taker right now, because I don't like how it's operating, which is funny for me because it's broken and so I should be psyched for it. Argul's Bloodfast, is that in there? Vona's Hunger, that's in there. Twilight Prophet is in there. That card's kind of garbage. Sorry to Ninja who spent 4 rare wild cards on it, but that's not a card I get very often. Azor's in there, Vona's in there, Carnage Tyrant is in there, and the card I get most often, Beard, what up?
Yeah.
You were the one telling me about the Sam Black. I watched that and enjoyed it very much. So what is this card? That's the Tracker. That's in there. The Poisoner's out. The Duress is out. The Field of Ruins out. The Hostage Taker's out. So let me talk to you about Hostage Taker. The problem with Hostage Taker right now, I think, is that both players in Arena, as you've seen on stream, have their own exile zones. But when Hostage Taker steals a card, it actually puts it in a neutral or Hostage Taker only exile zone. And so the fact that the game kind of forces the person to put the card exiled by Hostage Taker into their exile zone, I think is what's breaking Hostage Taker right now. But I wrote that in the forums. I submitted the request the other way, Shard. So hopefully Hostage Taker will see some improvement I guess I don't run Ixalan's Binding in the sideboard anymore, which is kind of stupid. A 4th Ixalan's Binding is pretty good. So maybe we'll work at fixing that. Moment of Craving's out. Negate is out. Overwhelming Insight, which I did get to cast once, is out. Chupa is out. Sanguine Sacrament is in. Sorcerer's Spyglass is out, though maybe it shouldn't be. Immortal Sun, Twilight Prophet. This is all good. How much is in my sideboard right now? 16. So if I had to fix this up a little bit more, I would take out Twilight Prophet, leave in Sorcerer's Spyglass, leave in Ixalan's Binding. I guess I'm still missing a card then. Carnage Tyrant, Vona, Azor. Oh, I still have Twilight Prophet in here. No, that's okay. This is the way I'd like to run the sideboard now. What was the other recommended? Star of Extinction? Yeah, we could do Star. We can do anything because we're playing Azor's Gateway and Mastermind's Acquisition. So here's my opinion on control decks currently, besides all the opinions you already heard. No way, Ninja. Absolutely not. Waker of the Wild is the best card in the sideboard by a huge margin. It's like there's 14 other cards, and then there's Waker of the Wilds. So, no. Sorry to come down hard on you. I know you're brainstorming. Oh. I like playing control decks that have a super sweet win condition. And there's nothing better than Mastermind's Inquisition plus Gateway. So, I like my control. I don't want my win condition to be Sanguine Sacrament. I don't want my win condition to be deck the opponent, unless I'm playing mill. Yep. Yeah, a lot of those cards should have their own exile zone and not a personal player's exile zone. And because they gave each player an exile zone, I think it's making a lot of things kind of wrong. Oh yeah, Ninja. Waker of the Winds wins the game when it comes down, if you have a flip gateway. You do 20 damage, you have like 4/5/5 lands hasted swinging in. All right, yeah, let's do the land base here. But wait, are we at 17 cards in the 16 cardboard? So, let's cut one for Star of Extinction. I feel like Vona is still good. Vraska is not that great. Azor I don't really have much use for. I guess we should cut Deadeye Tracker. Until there's Scarab God. But it is super nice against Journey. I don't think we need Bloodfast. Let's cut Bloodfast. Because when I play versus control deck, it doesn't matter how many cards the opponent draws. That's what I love about this deck. So you might say this is a little bit light. This deck is a little bit light on card draw because I only have 4 ops and 2 secrets of the Golden City. But keep in mind I also have Gateway. I would put another Contempt in the sideboard if I had it. So maybe main deck it, because Planeswalkers, if I don't have a cancel for a Planeswalker, it's a pain to get off the board because I don't have enough pressure. Oh, Bright Reprisal is not in this deck anymore. There we go. I think we're playing 25 lands. All right, let's do the lands. Plains. 3 of those. Islands. 5 of those. Come on, island. Oh, that's weird. That's confusing because Plains has an S, but Island does not. Yep. Bright Reprisal was just in there for the gateway, but it turns out you don't really need. You don't need that much stuff for the gateway. You don't need to work that hard. 3 swamps. Or 3 swamp. Um, 2 glacial fortress. Three drowned catacombs. One arch. 2 fields. Definitely need the fields, folks. Yo, California!
Yeah!
What up? Two Forsaken Sanctuaries. And 4 Evolving Wilds. I think that's it. There we are. At that magic number of 60. I think the mana waste works pretty good. Once again, we don't have actually too much double mana cost, except for, well, we got double mana cost. I can't get away with saying that. But you know, you don't really need a turn 1 play. Turn 2 play is great if you can do it. Turn 3, you definitely need to play something. 25 lands. Brown land. Field of Ruin can fetch you a color you need. And I use it often when I'm not playing a deck that's going to have legendary enchantments. Like Merfolk, Dinos. Most specifically Dinos. I'll often use Field of Ruin just to search up a color. Sure, it's a turn off. Blah, 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 but depending on what point of the game is, that may or may not matter. I mean, clearly I would do 4 Glacial Fortresses and 4 Drowned Catacombs if I had them. I'd probably still stick with 2 Forsaken Sanctuaries. I don't think I'd go up or down on that. I think you still want black-white duel, even if it's terrible. A lot of these cards, like Secrets of the Golden City, I never really want to play early. So it is double blue, but it's rarely cast on turn 3. Slaughter is also kind of more of a later game card. Golden Demise, of course, is the one you want early to catch those merfolk. Double blue on cancels. I don't know, it seems fine. And then talking about Azor's Gateway, you can see from the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 drops, like we can trigger Azor's Gateway with just those. Oftentimes I'll slam Tetsamok or Spell Swindle under the Gateway. Don't just make it Sanguine Sacrament. At least put in Gateway and make it fun. Though I did cancel the person's Sanguine Sacrament right before he decked himself last night. Felt kind of good, but not bad. I was about to show him the Waker of the Wilds Gateway. I had Gateway flipped and I had Waker of the Wilds in his hand. And I was about, because he stuck with me all game, and he was the one that we had a 7 stack of Profane Processions on. I was going to show him how cool Waker of the Wilds was, but then he played Sanguine Sacrament, and I countered it. And I didn't show him Wakers of the Wild, and I let him deck out. Sanguine Sacrament is pretty good, though, for us. as a sideboard card if you are playing against a Sanguine Sacrament deck. Sometimes you just got to get your own Sacrament and hope you have more counter spells than they do. We have 4 counter spells. Most people aren't really running 4. Oh, I'm way off of Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle, I think, is pretty garbage. Pretty garbage. It's not garbage, but there's so many times when at the end of the game they're casting Sanguine Sacrament and I had 2 Hornswoggles in hand. If those had been cancels, I would have won the game. I don't want to trash Hornswoggle. I just don't think it's good in control. We have plenty of other cards to kill creatures. I want hard cancels against control matchups. Tillinali Summoner is still a shout out for Azor's Gateway. I still want to do that one day. And of course, it's in Portuguese in Mana Stack, which is why I should contribute, and I do plan on contributing a bit of my stream money that some of you guys have been generous enough to cheer me or sub me or whatever. I'm definitely going to give some of it back to Mana Stack here, because without Mana Stack, I don't know what I'd be streaming a lot of these days. I'm sure there's other sites, but Mana Stack's pretty sweet. So they deserve some of the monies. Yeah, like this deck against a non-blue control deck, it's just it's just a win. You just win. Like the only way you could lose would be if somehow they slam a Vraska on you and they've already binded your binding. Then your only choice is to use Mastermind's Acquisition to get like Primal Sun or Immortal Sun. In honor of no copyright, I'm going to grab a classical disc. I don't think these classical discs are copyrighted because they're too old. That was before orchestras copyrighted stuff. Or we could do this one. Let's get over here. Gregorian chant. If you've never heard this, it's kind of weird. But most importantly, right up here, Choir of the Monks, boys and girls. Boom. This should be a temple staple here. Oh, is that true, Shard? You've been viewing too many of my decks anyways, Shard. If you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, monk music hype. And these are the brewery monks too, not the Shaolin monks. This music is from these guys here. Maybe not these two guys, but two guys like this guy. Well, that's cool, California. I'm jealous that you won games with Tillinali Summoner, because I think that card's cool, and I've hardly viewed my decks. I don't know what I was talking about. I was talking about whooping the butt of non-blue control decks, I guess is what we were talking about. Like, card advantage doesn't even matter. Like, they'll get out Argul's Bloodfast, they'll get out their Arch of Erazka. I'll have 3 cards in hand, and I don't care. I don't need to draw cards to beat their deck, because they only have 2 or 3 threats. If I have a Profane Procession out, that's probably more than half their threat. Awakening Sun's Avatar? That might actually, well... Yeah, Awakening Sun's Avatar I could see. It's castable without the Gateway, which is nice. It doesn't work against Dinos, which is why I kind of prefer Star, but Star you need to have the Gateway flip to cast. Unless, of course, you hit a lucky spell swindle and you manage to get enough treasure. But I don't really count on treasure to cast these spells. I count on the Gateway flipping. But there's been so many games against control decks. I'm down to 1 or 2 cards, and they have 9 cards in hand. And it doesn't matter, because I know they can't beat me. Because they just do not have it, what it takes. So, and that's why they end up decking themselves often, because they think they need to draw all these cards to beat me, but none of their cards do anything. The only card that does anything is like Field of Ruin. And the thing with Gateway is you get 1 trigger. So if you're worried about Field of Ruin, the play is to not flip Gateway till you've Mastermind acquisitioned for the Wakers of the Wild. Then you flip Gateway. Then you immediately cast Wakers of the Wild. They Field of Ruin you, but you get the trigger for all the green mana. Slam all the green mana. Slam all the green mana, make your 20/20 worth of haste damage and swing in and wins. But often I'm using my Field of Ruins aggressively against another person's Field of Ruin, which is a bad plan, generally. Because you actually end up being down a land. But yesterday I finally caught someone who was tapped out with their Field of Ruin, and I actually got to kill their Field of Ruin without losing a land. But normally they just tap their Field of Ruin in response, and then yours whiffs and you're actually down a land, which sucks. But normally that happens late game and land's not a big issue. There's just not that much enchantment removal. There's only Ixalan's Binding. Which is kind of the reason I have Vraska in the sideboard. Like if I'm losing an Ixalan's Binding more, then I can grab Vraska out of the sideboard and kill their Ixalan's Binding. Yeah, I really have no other way to deal with losing the Ixalan's Binding battle. The best way to win the Ixalan's Binding battle is to just play smart when they have white and their control. Like sometimes vampires will trick me because I won't think a vamp deck is running Ixalan's Binding, and they will. But normally then it doesn't come down to a binding war against vamps. It's about my other removal being good enough in time. River's Rebuke was also kind of good when I was losing Ixalan's Binding more. Though it doesn't pick up your Ixalan's Binding, so it doesn't really do anything unless you hold up a cancel. But yeah, a lot of these sideboard guards are questionable. The only ones I feel great about is Wakers of the Wild, Sanguine Sacrament, and Immortal Sun. Those deal with very specific problems I have, or win me the game. I could say Carnage Tyrant, but normally I just would rather win the game right away with Wakers of the Wild instead of playing Carnage Tyrant. I like the addition of Star of Extinction. But by the time you can fetch that and play that, you should already have control of the board, and you probably don't really need Star of Extinction. Anyway, I encourage you guys, if you want to play Control, to play a Gateway deck so that you can have some fun bomb win condition instead of your win condition being Sanguine Sacrament or just decking your opponent through attrition. Like a lot of the counter decks I run into are running chupacabras and hostage takers, and that's kind of their win con, like a little 2/2 or whatever. And hostage taker is annoying. Actually, it's not so bad. It's annoying when it steals your gateway. Because I know they don't have anything to do with the gateway. They don't even know what to do with the gateway. They just steal it because it's the hostage taker. So I'm always pissed at them. Like, you don't even know what you're doing. And it's really super easy to cast because it only costs 2. So they can normally cast it right away. And I don't really have a good chance to answer hostage taker that fast. So that's annoying. But that's when River's Rebuke came in pretty good for me. I was able to get my gateway back by River's Rebuking. But then again, I was out of Mastermind. Oh, here's a card I'm kind of interested in, actually. Flood of Recollection. I'd like to mainboard this card, so I could play 2 Masterminds. Or 2 Slaughters. I would like to main deck this card somehow. I don't think it's very good to me in the sideboard. I mean, I could Masterminds for it to cast another Mastermind. I'd like to sneak this in there, but this deck is running so well right now. I really don't know what I'd take out. Let's just jam it in the sideboard for now, but it should be main deck. I would play another Search for Azcanta if I had it here. Once again, I don't know what I'd cut. I'd have that 3rd Vraska's Contempt in the sideboard. Because Planeswalkers are a bitch, but then again, maybe I'd rather just get Immortal Sun out. It depends. If they're playing black-green with Vraska, and I have to worry about thrashing Brontodon, then Vraska's Contempt is better. But if I'm not worried about them having artifact destruction, then Immortal Sun is better. I used to have Angrath in here, and I don't know. These sideboard slots are precious in a gateway deck. What would you guys cut for Flood of Recollection? I could cut a Chupaloop. But Chupaloop has done some good things. It's pressured the opponent a bit when they're out of stuff. I don't really want to cut any of my counter spells. Like maybe a Binding. I could go down a Binding for Flood. Flood can't actually get Binding, which is a bit of a bummer. I don't know. It's tough. Cut a 3-drop. The 3-drops are the best. Like the only thing I'd consider cutting in the 3-drops would be Secrets of the Golden City. Because once again, card draw doesn't seem to be a factor, actually. Like, you think in a control versus control matchup, card draw should be like a big part of it, but it's just really not at all. Because most of their cards are just dead. Yeah, that's sexy. I made a Sultai deck like that, California. Siren's Ruse with Chupaloop is good. I don't know, I just love Chup, but he could probably be cut from the deck. But I kind of like having a threat. I don't want to be that guy who's got no creatureless control. I mean, we still got Nezahal and Tetsamok, so that's okay. Cool things you could do with Profane Procession, in case you guys haven't played it with it much. Profane Procession your own creature to protect it from a removal spell. That's good. Vraska's Contempt, Moment of Craving, Chupacabra. Grab up your own creature. You can flip Profane later and then recast it. Since we don't have that many creatures, sometimes that's what we do. I really like Profane Procession. I like it even in a Vamp deck, probably. Just any deck playing black-white. besides super aggro, I would play one Profane Procession. I think that card is good. And it seems great in a Vamp deck because, sure, it slows you down. You maybe don't want it right away. But late game, like if you have a wide board and the dinos aren't really attacking, and then you can just start exiling 3 of their biggest dinos. That seems pretty good. You've been bolting your Phoenix. I've never had that, Ninja. That's what I did with the first Baffling End. The first time I killed Baffling End, I was like, oh sweet, I'll get my freebooter back. Nope. Nope, you don't get your card back. You get a dino, but you don't get your card back. That thing is gone the second Baffling End hits it. Or Profane hits it. Yeah, Phoenix is another reason to play 3 main deck Vraska's Contempt. I mean, Settle and Vraska's Contempt with 3, but Ixalan's Binding is very good against Phoenix. It's very fun to do to a Phoenix. Trust me. It's probably the ideal thing you could do to a Phoenix. Anyway, I think we've talked enough about this deck. Let's go on to a much sillier deck that will not probably get you any wins in Arena currently. But I have some interesting ideas for this, and I'm excited to hear your guys' opinions.